I was working for a big PR firm, and I had a gay friend in another office, and I said, John, I have this vision that someday I would have my own PR firm, and I'm going to do normal mainstream PR stuff, but I'm going to do gay and AIDS stuff too. He's like, oh, that can never happen. And I said, I don't know, I'm going to try. And I came here in 86, and in 89, I opened my own PR firm in the back of my house. I had an extra bedroom, and I said, yeah, I'm going to do this, and had enough money to last 6 months. And my first client was a young man who was kicked out of the Naval Academy named Joe Steffen because he was gay, and I took it on pro bono, which is a very bad economic model, but a good soulful model. And I started doing a lot of AIDS and LGBT stuff before anybody would touch that kind of stuff. I mean, this was not like normal where biggest firms in the world had LGBT divisions and such. This was, 30 years ago, 30 plus years ago, and people just weren't doing things like that. And I was considered a little crazy, which I am, so I wear it as a badge of honor. An actor was referred to me, Tom Villard. Tom was a character actor who'd been on TV, and Tom and I met for lunch one day, and Tom was pretty thin, and he said, listen, I got HIV, I'm going to lose my health insurance, and I need to come out as gay and having HIV because I need to get some work. So I helped Tom come out of the closet, and hoping there was some compassionate soul around that would find a few days' work for Tom. And there was. Her name is Mary Jo Slater. She's a longtime casting director in town. It's Christian Slater's mother, in fact. And I've never, ever forgotten her kindness. And because of him, because of her kindness and her willingness to get Tom a few days' work, Tom had health care up until the end of his life. A guy named David Smith was the head of PR for the LA Gay and Lesbian Center. He said, listen, I'm going to Sacramento. I got 2 actors coming out. And this was 1991. Would you do me a favor and do the PR for me? And one was Dick Sargent, who was the second Darren on Bewitched, and one was Sheila Kuehl, who was on the Loves and Lives of Dobie Gillis and now a county supervisor. So I took them out in, I believe, the First People magazine, then Entertainment Tonight. And I think they were both rather shocked that anybody cared about them because they'd been on TV decades before, but it got tremendous amounts of publicity, tremendous amounts. And Dick called himself a retroactive role model. And literally 30 years later, I still take celebrities and athletes out of the closet. We were one of the first industries to really assure that LGBT people would not lose their jobs for their sexual orientation. So there were a lot of things done very well and very right in this town early on. At the same time, and wherever that comes from, I can't tell you, a lot of actors have never come out and have great fear about coming out. So there has been this dichotomy, and we, the same way that we don't have a lot of active sports players or any active sports players in the big 3 sports. We've had one in Jason Collins come out in basketball for 1 season. We haven't really had an A-star come out of the closet. I even took some criticism for taking people out, that I created too much of a splash with some people. I took a country star named Shelley Wright out of the closet, and I was, oh my God, she got so much attention. Well, Shelley Wright had a book and an album to sell, and it was a country music album, so which is no easy feat for somebody coming out of the closet. You know what? My job was to be retained by her to get as much attention as I could, to sell as many books and as much music as I could. So I have no shame in that. Some people want to come out quietly on a social media announcement. I think that's fine for them. And I've done that quietly with some people too. I think What I've learned about bringing celebrities out of the closet is everybody is different. Everybody has a different DNA and a different reason. And you have to kind of match their coming out style with their personality and with their purpose. What is their reason for coming out? Is it simply to live their truth, or do they have a book or an album or a product to sell? If you have something to sell, you got to beat the drum a little louder and a little longer. If you're just telling your truth, then you're just telling your truth. I hope we're getting better. I know we're getting better because I know as a society that I think we're 2/3 of people support marriage equality in society. It's why I work so hard to take people out of the closet. I think it's the single most important act we do as an LGBT community, because that's where our power comes from, is visibility. Every single study says if you know a LGBT person, you're going to support an LGBT community more and more. So that's why I think that is such a important thing. And I've also seen parents turn around, people that you would never imagine, who love their kids. And one of my friends is from deep Southern Virginia, and I was at his wedding, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a mess. And yet his family treated it like any other wedding. They were as shit-faced as they would have been at his girl cousin marrying, a guy, and, because I think marriage equality made a big difference. I came out after I graduated in college in '78, and my mother was pretty extraordinary. And she started crying. I said, don't cry, I'm fine, I have friends, I'm living a happy life. And she said, I'm crying for all the pain you had growing up that I couldn't help you with, which I just can't imagine a better response. And she took to wearing an AIDS ribbon, when AIDS was the thing. And if you dared make a gay joke or say something insensitive about AIDS, she would rip you a new asshole. Myrna would tear you apart. My son's gay, I don't find that amusing. And she would just look at you and burn a hole through you. And I remember she'd tell me every so often, oh, I had lunch with so-and-so. I said, why? She said, oh, her son is gay. She wanted to talk to me. And she says, how do you handle it so well, Myrna? And my mother would just say, it's my son. What choice do I have but to love him? The AIDS epidemic had a lot of horrible things, but if you believe in Einstein that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, I think it brought our community together. It made the LGBT community one of the best organized communities in the world politically. We certainly found out who our enemies were, but we found out who our friends were. It brought gays and lesbians together in a way that perhaps we had never been together. We realized that we couldn't look to other people, and organizations like ACT UP realized, screw you, we're going to do this ourselves. We changed policies within the FDA for compassionate use. We did change the world. We took care of our own. We gave our friends sponge baths. We fed them. We paid their rent. We did what we had to do. Nobody else was looking out for our friends. We had to. And we did, and we were alone, so we had to stand by each other, and we were fortunate enough to have a few friends who stood by with us.